Hello, and welcome back to Wild Wiles Sports. I'm your co-host, Elaine Wiles.
And I'm your other co-host, Roxanne Wiles, Holler Wiles. I am Elaine's mom, and we realized that we haven't been telling anybody who we are. We just kind of assume that everyone knows, but that's not good form in podcast uh, world. So we're gonna keep telling you who we are and letting you know like why we're doing this podcast. So if you had to answer that, so why? Why are we doing this podcast?
Well, if you couldn't tell by our names, we are mother and daughter. So this is our mother and daughter podcast. I just think it's fun for us. We do it for ourselves mostly to, get together and talk about sport we both love.
That's right. And then we always, after because we do this all the time, and then if we don't record it as a podcast, we're like, "Ah, that was so selfish. We kept all that information to
Exactly. All that
ourselves."
knowledge.
So we've got to share these insights with the pod squad that we have. It's
Yeah.
growing.
hmm So today we come to you on the last day of the round of 32. So the first weekend of March Madness is coming to a close. Mom, why do you look so sad?
I look so sad because as you see, we both have our gear. You got your sporting your sweatshirt. I got my hat. I got my Iowa Hawkeyes with the tractor. That's obviously a John Deere. Um, it all came to an end today, in a
Yes.
very disappointing
Very
showing.
disappointing.
I'm sure they don't feel very good about it. They played a good Oklahoma team. I mean,
Yeah.
the Oklahoma is hasn't been to the Sweet 16 in many, many years, so this is good for them, and they just outplayed them in every single way.
Every
So,
single way.
it looked good at the beginning. The first 4 minutes of the
Went
game,
on a
I
good
would,
run.
I mean, so that's half the first quarter. I was feeling hopeful. I thought that I would taking control of the tempo. They had missed a lot of shots, yet we're still leading. But then turnovers, the very thing that we
Turnovers.
talked about at the very beginning of the
That's what I
season.
was gonna say, is that it felt
Okay.
so similar to the beginning of the season.
Yes, like you're just turning the ball over a bunch. And then Jan got a technical.
I didn't see that, but I heard about it.
So I don't know what's that. So those are a couple of things like that surprised me. The return to the turnover disease, and then Jan got upset, which I don't blame her. I mean, there was a Hannah Stolke play. I felt like she was fouled too, and it
Hannah
had to be there.
Stolke got like so mistreated by these refs. Like intentional foul on a shot attempt? What
Yeah.
are we talking about?
With the arm back here, like she has that much presence of mind too. I wish we could play back. So someday
Yeah.
when we're like a real podcast, when we play clips, we'd play that scene right now because there is no, and then even the commentator, which I can't
I did
handle
not like
that.
them.
I did not like them. Well, at least, especially the dude, I don't remember what his name was, but where he was like, well, maybe, come on.
No.
It's a shot. You can't think about, I'm gonna slap my arm back and smack somebody.
Just it was
That's
just
silly.
ridiculous and I just thought that was ridiculous, but it's not like it made or broke the game
No,
for them. Like
no,
they played really bad. Like
they did.
and the offensive rebounds for that Oklahoma was getting was terrible. And this is there were
So many, like they
in a
had the most
row.
rebounds. They had 72 rebounds in the first game, or not in this game, but in the last game that they played, which is an NCAA record, which many of those were off of, missed shots. So it's kind of the Angel Reese, way of getting your rebounds. But you know what? They won, and they
Yeah.
still netted point or plus 37 in that first game. So there were so many times where offensive rebounds for Oklahoma were just
And yeah, another
contested.
thing that I didn't get was like, so, obviously they had Reagan Beers, which actually wasn't as big of a factor as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
But, they're big, right? And so
yeah,
when
they
we
are.
to protect the paint. And I'm like, that's great. You know, you're going to give up some outside shots. That's the point of a zone. And then
Mhm.
in the zone, they're getting back cut and giving up wide open layups in a zone.
Well, there was a few times that as much as I didn't really love the commentators, which could just be our fan bias, but I still thought some of the things like when you call okay, here was one problem that I had with the commentators, and then we'll get back to the Iowa game. It's like, oh, well, I wrote it down. Who were Reagan and Beers? They're the studs for Oklahoma. Who says that? We don't say that. I don't, and nothing, there's nothing even politically incorrect. I'm not talking about anything other than like, dude, we used to say that in the 80s. I don't think kids are saying that players are studs anymore. So you just automatically lost credibility with me. But when the zone, we were talking about the zone before I went off on that bird walk. Um, the commentators did say something that I felt was very true, that Oklahoma was playing like they wanted it more. Now, I know that's not what was happening in their hearts,
Hmm.
but that's what the reality was out there on the floor. I
Yeah.
mean, of course they wanted it. So I always hate to attribute like a motive to how people are playing, but the way Oklahoma showed up was definitely more intense, and more focused on getting the job done. And I think Iowa was not as convinced that they could do it.
Yeah.
And that's where it begins.
Yeah. And yeah. And then like with the turnovers, like very similar to me to the beginning of the season, where a lot of them came from trying to get the ball into the post. And I haven't seen them struggle with that in such a long time. So I think you're right. I think obviously we don't know what was going on in their heads, but like something happened mentally where they're just like, we're the underdogs. Like we can't do this.
Well, they were. They were at Oklahoma, which
Yeah,
again, let's give props to all those Iowa fans that drove down to Oklahoma because
true.
they do show up in droves. But it's an away game. And that's the bummer of the NCAA tournament for women is that all these first and second round games you give home court advantage, and there's some folks that you can call that home court advantage a good 8, 9 points. Not that would have made the difference here. Did you hear what Kim just did? Kim Mulkey in the game that's on right now. She bought every single student ticket. She bought
Oh,
2,000 student tickets and said, "You guys have been great all year. This one's on me, and come
I
on to
think
the
Paige
game."
Beckers did that too.
Did she really?
You know what else she did? This is kind of going off
What?
topic, but so
Okay.
one of the girls who plays on UConn, I can't remember her name, practices and celebrates Ramadan. And so Paige Beckers gets up before dawn and makes her breakfast. Isn't that the coolest thing you've ever
Got
heard?
it. I love her.
Yeah.
Love her. Yeah. So, okay, what other things from this game today? Jan got the tea. I did notice that. I felt like it was going well at the beginning. I was really excited to see Lucy Olson continue with the assist train that she's been on. Last game, she had 12 assists. They were sharing the ball so much. The entire team in their first round game had 28 assists. I mean, so this was like perfect Iowa basketball that we've been talking about that, they share, they're so unselfish, and Feuerbach is coming alive, and she was
She's coming
tearing it up,
back.
and she's
She's coming
coming
back.
back. We're very excited about that. But I mean, she started the game with a good couple of threes. Um, and I was feeling good because they were shooting poorly. Even, in those first 4 to 5 minutes, probably 30%, but they still had a lead. And they had a lead because they had taken control on the defensive end. They were causing OU turnovers.
Hmm.
And then they just kind of they lost their footing.
Yeah.
So that happens. And
But I do want
it's
to say that like At the end of the day, this was a very successful season in my mind for Iowa. Like this could have been a train wreck. They lost most of their starters. They lost their star. They lost the best player in the country. They lost their head coach. Like this could have been awful. And what did they win? Like 22 games? Like
Yeah, something like
something like
that.
that. And
Yeah.
they won a game in the NCAA tournament. Like they were a sixth seed. Like
Yeah.
could have been bad. Um,
Could have been bad. And
and it was
so I
decent.
say props to Jan.
Yes.
I liked the black leather jacket tonight. That was a good look. I mean, we got to talk about all the things, but no, I think if you're somebody's assistant coach for 20 plus years and, you used to lead uh, well, I don't know if she led the NCAA or I suppose Drake, she scored like 29 points a game as a
Yep.
player, so she's been in this business for an awful long time. So we shouldn't be surprised
No.
that she's gonna come in and know what's up and how to do it. So I'm not surprised. I'm relieved. I'm glad that she has stepped into the very big shoes of Lisa Bluter, and she's Jan Jensen. I mean, she's her own person, and I think she did a hell of a job this first
Yes.
year. And she went after the transfer portal to try to fill a little bit of a void, and I think Lucy Olson did a nice job of stepping in, but you can't make that transition. I think that's what these young women are going to learn over time. Chasing something for 1 year. I'm not seeing it work out for a lot of them. Not that I'm saying I'm so glad she came, but I'm not seeing it turn into the dividends that players think it might by
Yeah,
just
but
jumping ship and going someplace else.
I think it's
There's
important to
there's
note that
different
like
circumstances for different people, but
right. But I also
um,
think it's important to point out that like she was playing in the Big East, and as we all know, I am a Big East hater.
you are you
I
are
am a Big
well
East
with
hater,
good
and I don't
reason. I
blame her for
mean,
wanting to get out.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, I don't either. I don't either.
because
I'm talking about
in my mind, Lucy Olson, if she declares, could be a second round pick in the WNBA draft.
if. So let's see. I wondered if we'd talk about that tonight. I was wondering if she'd go second or third. Um, but
But
yes,
in my mind, if she
absolutely.
stays in the Big East, she might not be. She probably
That's
is.
true. That's true. That's true. That's true.
But moral of the story, if you're an Iowa fan or considering being an Iowa fan, do not give up hope.
No, the
The
future's
future
so
is
bright.
very,
Those
very
freshmen,
bright.
oh my goodness. And
The
then Kylie
freshmen,
Fairbanks
we got
came back.
we got some five stars coming in from high school. Like, the future is bright for Iowa basketball.
Where would you want to play? Like if you had the choice or if you could play anywhere, give me your top three.
My top three,
Yeah. Like
I
which
mean,
coaches are you drawn to?
obviously I'm drawn to Jan as we've been
That would
talking
be my
about.
number one. I would play for Jan Jensen
I would love to
in,
play for Jan Jensen.
yes. I mean, she is as genuine. I'm not that, I mean, they all are. Don't get me, well, there's conditions on that, but yes, Jan would be a fabulous coach to play for. And
I'd
so
love
that,
to, yeah, I'd also love to play for Dawn. I wouldn't mind playing for Dawn Staley.
of course, oh my God, I can't even imagine.
That'd be
Yes,
so
absolutely.
crazy.
And then Kim Mulkey is my absolute third choice.
Shut up, Mom. No,
No,
my
no.
third, I don't know where my third would be. I don't want to go to UConn. Um,
Why?
I'm a UConn hater, as we know.
What happened?
I'm not going to play in the Big East. I hate the Big East.
Oh, because of the Big East.
I'm not
Well, yeah.
playing there every night. Like, no, I'm
Okay.
not doing that.
Okay.
And same reason, like when I was a kid, I probably would have said UConn or Creighton. Not going to Creighton for the same reason. Um, maybe not so much focused on the coaches for my last pick, but in terms of who I'd want to play with, I would probably go play with, well, I'd probably go play at, like, if I could play this year, I'd probably go play at UCLA. I'd probably go play with Kiki Rice and Lauren Betts.
Yes. That's solid. That whole team, I mean, I watched that game last night. They are I mean, the number one seed for a reason. I still don't think they're going to win it, but they're a good team. So let's
I
talk
picked
about
them.
that. You picked them.
I did pick them.
Yeah, you did. Oh, wow. Okay.
Hmm. And people have been treating me like that's an insane pick. And I'm like,
But
they're
it's
the
the
number
number
one
one.
overall seed.
The number one seed. Yeah, I still don't think they'll win. But what a cool story. I mean, there's so many like Kiki Rice has already had like a Netflix documentary about her. And then Lauren Betts. I just read a big article about her in the New York Times where she, as a 6'7" kid when she was a freshman in high school, even in middle school, I think. I don't know when she was done finally growing, but it was rough. I mean, she really had a tough go of all of her schooling and has just been very self-conscious about her height and her voice and had suffered a lot of bullying and then mental health, of course. I mean, that would all just pile up and so it's just such a that's a cool story about her coming into her own and taking responsibility for her mental health. Like when she
Yeah.
needed time last year, she took time, because she was struggling. Yeah, it's a cool story. It's a cool team. But I wouldn't want to play in LA.
I do think it'd be
Yeah.
tough being in the Big Ten and on the West Coast.
Oh,
That would yeah, that wouldn't be fun. Another place I'd like to go, now that I'm thinking about it, I would love to play at Tennessee. And I'm sure Sunday would love if I played there.
I bet she would. I bet she would. I mean, that whole platoon in and out. What I really love about the Tennessee coach is that she has brought a different style. I am excited about that Tennessee team. That game was fun to watch.
Yes.
Um, their first round, we still have their second round game tonight, don't we? Or
No,
am I
they
off?
made it. No,
No, they
they
made
made
the
it to
Sweet
the Sweet
16.
16. Ohio
All
State
right.
was their second round game.
Oh, that's such a good game. Okay, so she's changed the style. She's changed the
Yeah.
style of play with the
They
five
did like
in, five
hockey
out.
subs.
What's that?
I've heard everyone's calling it hockey subs. Like they just sub everybody out.
Well, they do. But it looks like the Y kind of, but it's not. And they are so fast and intense, and they
Suffocating
run
defense.
suffocating defense. And I love seeing Ohio State lose. I did not like how Cody McMahon had been
Nope.
acting. What the hell? Did you see her at the end when she was
Yelling.
going through the line? I was
Yeah.
trying to isolate the video. I think she was slapping hands like this, like really aggressively. And then she must have said something when she went by the Tennessee coach because she gave her a double take. I mean, I'm
And
sure
this is the
she'll go high
same
in the
Cody
draft.
McMahon that flipped off the student. Don't do that, Mom.
Like, well, she did. She went like this.
Don't do
I'm
that.
just reenacting it. For
We're
those of
not
you listening, I just did double flip off fingers because that's what Cody McMahon did on TV. Two fans who were in the Big Ten championship were clearly not on her side, and so she let them know.
Yeah, yeah, not super big fans. That's something I love about the Tennessee coach is that she did an interview at the beginning of the year because this is her first year as head coach, and she was saying like, "Oh, this is your rebuilding year. You got time to rebuild. These seniors aren't your players." And she was like, "No, like these seniors chose to stay. I want to win now. I want to win for them." And I think that's so good. I think that's the right mindset to have.
So if you're going to change your bracket, I'm going to pull up my bracket right
All
now.
right. Hmm. Listen, UCLA. I picked them to win the whole thing, and they had a rocky first half against Richmond.
Yeah, they
Um,
did.
and that was scaring me a little bit, a lot of it.
Huh?
And I don't know. My head says it's going to be South Carolina, but I don't know. I thought it'd be boring to pick.
Well, I picked it because I was trying to win. But I still, if I was gonna change it, if I was feeling okay, did I say that Texas, Tennessee, what did I say would happen here? Okay, so I have Tennessee
Beating Texas?
beating Texas.
Oh, I don't have.
You don't think that'll happen?
That's
I
not what I
do.
have. No, I have Texas. Hmm.
Okay. Well, so I'd keep that the same. And I've got UConn over USC.
I
Um,
have that too.
I just really wouldn't be surprised. I love I know you hate the Big East, but I mean, Paige Beckers, you've seen the ads. She's everywhere. How is she not
Yeah,
going to win
I
the
like
national
Pitt.
championship? I love Paige. Um,
Yeah, Paige is great.
so if I was going to change anything, I might switch to having UConn win it all.
If I was gonna switch, I'd go with the logical choice of South Carolina. Um, just because UCLA gave me a scare and South Carolina
They
hasn't given
did.
me any scares.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I just think, yeah, they are healthy. UConn is healthy for the first time in a while. And if they're gonna do it, it's gonna be now or in like 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? Like they're not gonna be able to do it for a little while, I don't think.
Yep.
Once they lose Paige. I mean, Sarah Strong is amazing, but it's
Oh, update. It's 81 to 55 LSU over Florida State.
yeah, they kind of ran. I used to have that up on my TV. They're kind of running away with that. So
Well, we got Flage back. They're 100%. I mean, you can't count them out either, but
that's true. I could
uh,
see them knocking out UCLA.
I really could. I
Yeah,
really
I
could.
hope not.
Well, for my
Um,
bracket's sake, but it'd be interesting. I mean, once. Yeah.
um, yeah. So right now in the Sweet 16. We're filming this like towards the end of the day, so not all the games are done yet, as you hear us saying. So, but there's UCLA, Ole Miss, Kansas State, TCU, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Duke, South Carolina, Oklahoma, NC State, Texas, and then the rest of the games are not done yet for us. So there's UConn versus South Dakota State, LSU versus Florida State, which is looking like it's going to go to LSU. Alabama versus Maryland. I don't know how that ended. That was like close. Toward right at the end when we started. North Carolina versus West Virginia and USC versus Mississippi State.
Now,
So
a
that's
lot can happen. A lot
yeah.
can happen.
What do you think about South Dakota State upsetting UConn? Possible?
You know what? Okay, so in 1992, I went to the NCAA Division II tournament playing for UNO, and I think we played South Dakota State and lost.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, so I mean, it was either South Dakota State or I'm pretty sure it was South Dakota State. Um, so yeah, beat them, Paige.
Yeah.
It's a grudge match from 34 years ago or
All right, you
whatever.
you heard it here first. UConn has to win to
Yeah,
avenge my mom.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there anything
Yeah.
that has surprised you so far?
Surprised me how,
Iowa losing, has that surprised you?
well, it surprised me how, yeah, I did not, I was unhappy with how that went down.
Yeah.
Um,
I was surprised that Kansas State got the win over Kentucky. That was
Yeah.
surprising to me.
Mhm.
Um, I had Vanderbilt going to the Sweet 16, and they lost first round. So I'm not very good at
I
this bracket
wouldn't.
thing, guys. And then
Yeah. Don't listen to
North
us.
Carolina surprised me. They had no issues with Oregon State, and I thought they would.
Yeah, a lot of people were pretty excited about Oregon State.
Yeah,
Yeah. No.
yeah,
All right. Well, there's basketball to watch.
yep.
We probably better wrap this up.
Mhm.
Um, one word, how you're feeling about the rest of the tournament.
How am I feeling? How am I feeling? Um, Nervous for my bracket.
Well, yeah. And I'm feeling differently than, like last year when we had, so I asked for one word and I give you one paragraph.
Yeah.
Last year we had, Caitlin Clark and the whole country, really fixated on that Iowa team and that we don't have that same kind of atmosphere, but we still have huge viewership and you're seeing stadiums filled. So I, I'm 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 comforted by the fact that shortly after this, we have the WNBA
Oh, I'm
draft
so excited.
and then we have the WNBA. So I mean, it's I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay, even though,
I'm trying to keep in mind that like it's a privilege. Like last few couple years have been a privilege for our team to go so far. And most people, their teams don't go super far.
no,
And we
yeah.
stay locked in because we love it and we're excited to see what happens, but it's definitely a lot less fun when your team loses.
Very true. And I mean, we're a little bit greedy because by all accounts, should have been a rebuilding year for Iowa. And instead, they were contenders. And if they'd showed up the way they have showed up in the past today, I think we'd be looking at a different outcome. We might be talking Sweet 16, doesn't matter. It's still something to be like those that whole team should feel so proud of what they have done and what they continue to how they represent the state and women's basketball. And I'm just excited for the future.
All right, so the Sweet 16 starts this Friday. It's this Friday and Saturday, so be
Mm-hmm.
sure to tune in. Keep tuning into
Yep,
March Madness, even if your team is out. I promise you there are good games ahead.
that's the truth.
Well, thanks for tuning in to Wild Wiles Sports.
See you later.